On this episode of AV Week, Clear One is filing a patent lawsuit. Talk about educating educators on the benefits of 4K and getting in with designers creating exceptional experience. All that and more. Next on AV Week.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is AV Week, episode 296, recorded Friday, April 28th, 2017. Patent Law. AV Week is brought to you by our fine group of underwriters, companies like Infocom International. Infocom 2017, what will you create? Join them June 14th through the 16th in Orlando, Florida. Visit infocomshow.org for more information. This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of audio-visual news and information. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. With us to talk about the news and information, and good God, do we have a doozy. First and foremost, her name is Lindsay Adler. She is the editor-in-chief extraordinaire for SCN. How are you, ma'am?
Very well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Also with us, his name is John Green. He works for a company called Advanced AV in beautiful Philadelphia. How are you, sir?
Wonderful. Great day.
Yeah, I saw John, I guess about a week or so ago at the Simco event. So,
is this the first time you were in Philadelphia for a while, or do you just kind of come in without saying hi sometimes?
Well, you know, no, it was a good event. I had never been to a Simco event, so it was a good event. So it was
that team put a good. They do a good job. There were over a couple hundred attendees at that show, so it was worthwhile. Yeah.
And we have a new person, so you two be nice to her. Her name's Karen Schmidt. She works for Chief/Milestone. How are you, ma'am?
Yes, good. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So here's a little bit of inside baseball. I invite people on the show, and they are very nice to me, and they say yes. And about a few days beforehand, I will email out some stories. And typically, we don't have breaking news in AV. It just doesn't happen. And I get a response from somebody saying, hey, we've got some breaking news. So let's talk about that breaking news. This is as of, what was it, Wednesday?
Officially Tuesday, but yeah, Wednesday is when we went live with the story.
Okay, officially Tuesday, but really we're going to talk about Wednesday. So what happened was Clear One, first of all, Clear One was awarded a patent. We're going to bring it up on the screen here. Clear One was awarded a patent for combining echo cancellation and beamforming microphone arrays. That was the patent. That's the patent that was awarded to them. The very next day, they filed suit.
Same day.
Same day. I'm sorry. Same. See, this is why I have Lindsay on. Same day, they filed suit for patent infringement against Shure, Biamp, and QSC. Couple things here to lay this out. The patent was actually applied for in January of 2016, so about a year and a half ago. That's what that was the patent that I saw. Did you see a different patent?
I mean, everyone has their different ways of reading patent filings, because one IP lawyer I talked to says you can read it to date back all the way to 2011. Oh,
well, there you go.
And it was June, actually, I think, was the main filing date that
2011.
To, layman readers of patents would call out June 11th, 2012. Actually, and even the provisional applications date back as far as 2011, according to the paperwork.
Okay. So see, Lindsay has a different one. So I need you to send me that so I can put a link to it on the show page. The patent that I saw, though, based on the patent number, was the official filing date said January something 2016. So 2016, 2012, and 2011. So, and the reason these dates are important is because when it gets down to patent law, we are not going to talk about patent law. So incredibly boring and so incredibly broken. It's
wait, really?
No.
Oh,
no.
Man, I had game there. I guess I'll just be
You
quiet.
can, John. John is in the heart of Philadelphia.
I'm good. Let's just move on.
But Lindsay, we're going to start with you since the story we're using is on your site. What does this mean for? I understand what it means for Clear One. right? Clear One clearly thinks that they have intellectual property that is patentable, and they want to protect that. And the U.S. government gave them a patent. I can sit here and argue whether or not they should have. Absolutely.
I've heard that argument from a few people this week.
Oh my gosh. Some of the comments on social media has been, I can patent how to drink water, I think is my favorite one.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. How to drink water, and I can force you to use a specific straw, I think is the one I saw. But what does this mean for QSC and for Shure and for BIAMP? Seriously, because they all are part of this suit. They all have products that ostensibly compete against Clear One's product. We're 6 weeks out from Infocom. Who knows who else has, something possibly coming down the line come June. What does this mean for the companies that are being filed suit against?
It's questionable at this point. Ultimately, Clear One is seeking an injunction, which means eventually, if they were to prevail in court, that these defendants, QSC and BIAMP and Shure, wouldn't be able to sell their products anymore. That's what it means on the front. There's been question of whether on the BIAMP and QSC side, if they could white label something and go to market with it. Again, if they're prevailing in court, there could be a licensing deal on the table. That was a suggestion. As of right now, Shure filed suit back. So my prediction is we're going to be tied up in court for a little while. And I did speak with an independent IP lawyer this week that was very interesting. Someone who doesn't know the audio industry, doesn't have any clients or conflicts of interest. And his reading of the papers were, this is it's a paradox. There are many different directions and offenses that it could go in. But in the short term, and one of my first questions was, does this mean they're not going to be able to show it at Infocom? Some people might remember there was a little bit of theatrics during ISE where CanX Pro's products were pulled off the trade show floor by authorities because Barco had sued them for infringement over ClickShare. So I don't predict anything like that happen. If an injunction were to go through, I'm told in Utah where this is filed, it could be about 80 days is the average that a judge might rule on it. So if anyone is concerned about seeing these products and talking about them at Infocom, I think you'll see them. And I think there's definitely going to be a lot of talk about them. I know the question from dealers is, what does this mean in the long term, especially the dealers who are invested in all of these, in this, solution together?
Well, luckily we have a dealer. So, John, what does this mean for you and your designs going forward? Yes,
we are. And the odd part about it is we're invested in all four solutions. Being a systems integration company, we try to find the right solution for the customer. And customers make choices on products for a lot of different reasons. Some of them technical, some of them emotional, some of them are prices. So when we first heard about we first read the article, our reaction was, what specifically from those manufacturers does it impact? Because it's clear, it's the beamforming microarray, but they're also bringing in DSP and other things. It's a little confusing. So we have to sit down with those manufacturers and ask the question, and hopefully they get the answer. We're in litigation, we can't answer the question. And hopefully they come to us and say, we think that these are the products that are going to be impacted. We've literally run all of our projects that we have in-house with all the products that could potentially be, just in preparation for what's the next steps. We don't know until we know exactly what products on the BIAMP and Shure and the QSC side are really truly impacted. So that's where we stand right now. It's disturbing. It truly is. It's a shame that it has to come down to this, and hopefully the course of action and the communication of the lawyers, that they actually sit down with human beings and work this out. Yeah. I would imagine the entire industry is hoping for that as well. Because again, you're also going to get some emotional reaction from a variety of different dealers. This was my best product line and you're taking it out of existence. That dynamic is intriguing just by itself. I mean, we'll see.
Well, you're also going to have, you're going to have, let's be honest here, manufacturers, and Karen will bring you in on this from a manufacturing standpoint. Manufacturers have fanboys and fangirls, right? And we all know this, right?
Yes, right?
You're going to have visceral reactions from people who are, oh my gosh, dyed in the wool, Clear One dealers who are like, it's about time, this, that, and the other. And you're going to have folks from the other side that are like, oh, wait a minute here, that are absolutely in the camp for the other ones. Karen, from a manufacturing standpoint, I can imagine, I can't think off the top of my head, but I can imagine that there have been patent suits against Milestone once or twice over the last, 10 years or so. How do you guys handle, I'm not asking internally, the heads that roll on that, but how do you guys handle from a marketing and PR standpoint of ensuring people like John that, hey, this is we're okay right now with this. This is a step. Yes, it's a legal thing that we have to do, but there are processes and steps that we can take as a company.
Yeah, and we've been on both sides of this before, with having to protect our own patents and having to, try to innovate around patents. It's a challenge. Whenever some of these issues come up that might affect your customer, though, our policy is always to try to be as open as you can. People generally understand if you have issues with being able to ship a product or deliver on something, or they understand that. What they don't tend to understand is if you can't try to help them do their business. So that tends to get controlled. I'm not the one that gets involved in these conversations. That stays with legal and the high up executives when it comes to handling these. But, there's always an internal communication whenever, patent or otherwise, something comes up that might be controversial or that might seriously affect your customers. And here's what you can say, and here's how we can help them. So we always want to try to do the most we can, but sometimes in situations like this, there's not a whole lot you can say.
Absolutely. Well, good luck. How about this? Good luck to all the players involved. Unfortunately, like John, I've got a lot of friends on all these sides. So all I'm going to say is good luck to all those involved, and we'll move on from there.
And it's difficult. I mean, because this affects the AV industry. This isn't just, this is a big statement. It really is. So it's the only thing that we can deal with right now are the facts, is that they own a patent for that product.
Yep. The like I said, the U.S. government gave them a patent. We can debate and argue whether or not they should have, though.
But a court can strip it.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
As part of this, that is definitely one of the scenarios that could happen. And that argument, Tim, that you were making from the engineering side standpoint of if it should have been issued at all is very much out there. So.
Well, it again, I so don't want to get into a patent discussion, but here's the thing, and this we've watched this as folks who are in the AV industry. I watch patent law and patent decisions being made from the technology side, right? From software and Apple and Samsung and all of them, and the hoo-ha that they've gone through over the last 15, 20 years. And you go, well, how did they give them a patent for pressing a home button? Something silly like that. But when it's in your backyard, right, and it affects your industry, it's a little different story. And if it's your company, it's a little different story. The one thing that I have in reading folks like The Verge and Gizmodo and other places like that is they have said for years that the patent system itself is broken because the people issuing the patents simply don't understand the technology.
Well, I'm gonna jump in and just add to that. Net neutrality. Again, you have a lot of people talking.
You took a way left turn there, Green.
Let me kind of try to bring it back in. Is that I'm just reinforcing what you just said. I think that there's a fair amount of people that are not actively involved and deeply involved in the technology, and they're not really understanding this. Beyond what's going to happen when net neutrality is wiped out, that's a different conversation. That's like patent law. So if I get tired, I read Shrago's articles. But besides that, go ahead, Lindsay. I'm sorry.
Yes, Lindsay.
Just in not commenting on net neutrality specifically, but commenting about the patent offices, and any criticism thrown in that direction is that it's a part of our government that's starved for resources, so there aren't a lot of people there.
Correct. And I agree. Again, just give me the net neutrality on top of it. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. Just put it in the same budget that I'm not going to say. I'm okay. 4K. Let's talk about 4K. Holy crap! Get me out of this before I get in trouble. This also comes from SCN and AV Network. From Brian and Dell, 4K projectors, the benefits for data display and data visualization. Brian talks about whether or not you've been in front of a projector teaching. I have, and I know a number of you have. 25 years ago, I still remember teaching Pro Tools, I want to say 2.0 on a straight up VGA, like an actual VGA resolution, which if you're familiar with 640 by 480, it was horrible. And so the one thing that 4K allows you to do is it gives you a bigger swath. It gives you a bigger area to put information. John, I'm going to start with you on this. John, Advanced AV does a lot of work in the education space. Is this something that the education space is ready for and is pushing for? Is this something that you're having to educate them, saying, hey, this is not just the latest, greatest thing, but it also helps you, in your instructors?
I think we're coming off of we're still involved in an educational stage for sure. And we're also doing, cost analysis, because that seems to be the pressing issue as well. What problem are we really trying to solve? That's the other issue. There's things that are impacting it. I mean, it's funny, our IT person walked into his office and said, yeah, I bought this and nobody really wants it. It's a 4K laptop. And I go, why doesn't anybody want a 4K laptop? I said, I don't even know what that means, but let's look at it. And it was beautiful and it was stunning. He goes, it doesn't play well with other monitors. It doesn't do this. And you're like, it's just like 4K in our real world. So yes, it's a great demonstratable product. You can absolutely make a case for it. There is a need for it. There's probably content for it. But we're still in the educational part with implementations slowly rolling out. That's what's happening for us.
Karen, as a manufacturer, how do you get folks like John and folks like John's clients along that path? He says they're in an educational process right now. How do you help him educate, and how do you educate integrators, and then how do you help educators educate their clients, if I said that correctly?
A lot of education.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that we actually do try to focus on, especially even from a marketing perspective, is helping our customers, help their customers. If you can get them the tools that they need to explain, because a lot of this stuff is getting more complex, and you're talking to some people, maybe it's educators, maybe it's, a facilities manager who may not necessarily understand exactly what benefits you can get from these situations. And so being able to provide case studies or white papers, people don't really trust standard marketing anymore. So, if they want to have referrals, they want to have people who have had experience with this tell them why they should spend the money. So providing any of those kinds of referrals and information that they can use to justify an extra expense is something that we're always trying to do.
All right. Lindsay, from where you sit, what is the biggest hurdle that folks like John are running into when it comes to, giving 4K or leading their clients down to the 4K path?
Yeah, no, that's a perfect question. It really segues off of Karen's comment perfectly. And it's the cost of these systems end to end. You're laughing, but it's a major challenge. So people can buy bits and pieces of it right now, but I think the clients that can afford the full end to end right now, I don't know how few and far between they are.
They don't exist.
Okay, right. And what I thought of also, one comment that I wanted to make, this just stood out to me in our InfoComm preview coverage that we were putting together this month. One of the consultants that we spoke with in terms of, what he was looking for at InfoComm, this was Ben Boucher from Jaffe Holden, was saying that he has clients that they want a 4K upgrade path, but they just can't afford it yet. And he said that there isn't a single standard out there for 4K signal transport that gives them everything that they need. So that was one of the prime things that he's keeping his eyes open for at InfoComm this year.
Well, and the one pushback that I get, and I've been getting this for a couple of years and talking about 4K, and that's content.
Yes.
Right. And it's you mentioned delivery. I'll mention the content. So getting the content to there. It's just here in the last 6 months or a year to where a 4K physical media, Blu-ray is one of the formats. Karen sent over an article that we'll link to it, and that's the fact that the space station just recently broadcast a stream back to Earth in 4K. Right. So the content is coming. And yes, it's the same talk we had 18 years ago now, about HD when it first started coming out. Right. I still remember, this is weird, but it was a special on ER. This is how long ago it was. An ER episode that one of the first ones that they broadcast in HD, and what was different about it and why it was different in the content. And this was as HD was first started being rolled out, pre-digital transmission and this, that, and the other. Same thing here. I mean, the content will come. It's just, we've got to figure out the transport, like Lindsay said, and do it in a cost-effective way. You're not going to run, an RGB-HV cable, 200 feet to get that there. So, all right, last story here before I let you guys get out of here. One thing that's interesting, and that's Lindsay and actually Kirsten Nelson wrote a story about the 9 design firms you need to know. And what's fascinating about this story is, oh my gosh, the visuals. Yes, it's a very well written story, but some of these visuals are absolutely stunning. Lindsay, I want to start with you on this simply because you're the one who wrote it. First of all, what drove you down the path of looking at designers and saying, integrators, these are folks you guys need to get a hold of?
Yeah, interesting question to start off. And I'll just say, in terms of the visuals and your reaction, that's exactly what we were going for when we conceived this. And for those of you that follow SCN, the last couple of years, we've done a focus on the 9, but focusing on young, up and coming kind of, really, really special innovators in the industry. And, we've done that for a couple of years. And this year we knew we wanted to shift. That was a very small niche of people we were looking at, and they're kind of hard to find. So we said, what else would be impactful in this context? And really, it's just building off of this is what we're talking about. This is what InfoComm is talking about in a big way, and has been, from Kirsten's perspective, Kirsten Nelson, she's actually been, as a side project, creating InfoComm center stage content, which is a TED Talk sort of presentation space that they're going to have, instead of the individual pavilions at the show this year, just one center stage area. And these are the kind of people that she's been talking to, that we've been talking about. And as I talked about a little bit in my introduction to this, is part of this was a fun, self-indulgent thing, absolutely. But that's the point. It appeals to everybody in this industry. And it doesn't matter if you're installing, hundreds of the identically same conference room over and over again. This is the kind of creative inspiration that you need to have, thinking outside of the box in terms of not what you put in the room, not how many of them you sell, but what else you can do about the experience that you can create for your clients. And that concept of the experience that you can create for your client, it's the same whether you're at a concert. Conceptually, I'm talking about, it's the same if you're at a concert, or at, some other kind of live event, or there was the example in the church the Moment Factory did, where if you watch the video that we posted, it's like a laser light show in this cathedral in Montreal. So the context and the results is very different, but from a skill, from what your brain needs to do to create these sort of things, they're not all that different. So we were looking to, create that inspiration really, and point out some of the things that, you look at these things, and I think most people's reaction is, wow, that's crazy.
Well, it's crazy, but it's also, it goes back to, you mentioned the fact that this is what InfoComm's been talking about for the last couple of years, and I'm going to go back to the last strategic plan. that Dave Labuscus put forth with the board. These are exceptional experiences. These really are, you mentioned the cathedral. Oh my gosh, the visuals and the integration that happens in this. These are what people walk into, and this is the wow, right? This is the wow of AV. And what you guys have delivered are 9 design firms who have delivered wow in an exceptional way.
In very different, exceptional ways, I'll point out. They're not all live events and big laser shows.
No, some of them are integrated spaces. You and I got together in New York last fall. You had the link thing on there.
And that's a concept thing, actually.
Yes.
It doesn't really look that cool. I mean, it's a kiosk.
It doesn't look that cool. You're right.
But conceptually, they're changing the way that they're looking at the way that urban cities function with brands, with finances, with government, and with people. It's a fascinating concept.
All right, Karen, I'm going to bring you in on this real quick. The last couple of shows that you and I have been to together, and DSE was one, and ISE was another. Milestone and Chief specifically was showing the digital signage mount solution that you guys had, and it's variable and you can do different things. How do you guys, as a manufacturer, get connected with folks like these, right? Folks that can take, let's be honest here, a lot of what we do and a lot of the things that we deal with are simple boxes that, it takes someone special like these designers to take a mount and go, I can do this with this. Right?
Yeah.
Somebody who thinks, to overuse a phrase or to use an overused phrase, that thinks outside the box and goes, this is what I want to do with this. How do you guys get connected with folks like that?
That is an excellent question, because something that I think a lot of people have been asking themselves more recently. The people who are initiating these projects are changing. It's not necessarily coming from the normal Pro AV base anymore. You've got a lot of different sources that are initiating ideas for what you can do with an AV experience. It could be someone from a marketing team. It could be someone from facilities. It's an interior designer who wants to create a space in a lobby that's really engaging. So figuring out how to get in front of those people, where it's not about, I want a mount that does this. It's, I want to create this experience in this environment. How do I do that? And we're seeing a lot more AV consultants and architectural firms and even interior design firms getting involved in that process sooner. So how do we get in front of them? That's something that we're still trying to figure out. But it's definitely opened up some new channels for us and made it a lot more important to get to what we were talking about earlier with education and having those people understand where they can go to get that information and where they can go to actually achieve these crazy immersive experience goals.
All right, John, honestly, same kind of question, because Karen's right. The folks who were driving these projects, they've changed over the last 10 or 15 years.
Yeah, that's what's actually brought joy to our world. The personal interactions with somebody coming at it from not the standard question. Yeah, I want 100 rooms, as Lindsay said. It's like, I have a problem. I want to get a message. I want to make a statement. It's a marketing person, as Karen had said. It's a lot of different sources. So I look at this, and I even sent Lindsay a little thank you. Is that first off, she put in all the social connections for these people. So I literally spent half my day clicking on everybody who's going to follow type of it. Because you take these ideas, and unfortunately you walk it back to a staff that may have stuck its head down and is narrow focused on what it does on a day-to-day basis. And this opens up, I hope, creativity thought processes, or, that'd be cool to do. And they start to think outside of the box, as it's been said. These are exciting places. These are going to be all over the place. That's just the way it's going to be. And it's going to be that way because the technology is allowing it to happen. I mean, 5 years ago, we couldn't do half of those spaces. There would be no way to do it where they'd be out of cost control. So our projector today, a couple $1,000, it does mapping. I could do like a cheap version of this. So it's available to everybody at a moderate price, which is exciting. So thinking a little different, being challenged by customers, that's what the joy of the business is.
Yeah, absolutely.
These are exciting times. I mean, that's Lindsay, that's actually a very wonderful article. It really is. Very exciting.
Yep. Very well done. All right. On that positive note, as opposed to the first article we did, we're going to end here. So Thank you guys so much for joining us. Miss Lindsay Adler, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time. How do people connect with you and or SCN or AV Network?
People can find me on Twitter at Lindsay M. Adler. That's Lindsay with an E, at avnetwork.com, and also at SCN Mag on Twitter.
All right, very good. Mr. John Green, thank you, sir, as always.
Right. I'm at advancedav.com and jgreen6 on Twitter.
jgreen6 on Twitter. Karen, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for joining us for your first time.
Yeah, thanks.
And how do people find you and Chief or Milestone?
Right. So milestone.com. You can find me on Twitter at chief_Karen S, because we do have multiple Karens. And also you could stop by the booth at Infocom 2600.
Yeah, absolutely. That is just coming up really quickly soon. If you two things about Infocom. First of all, Lindsay will also be running around Infocom. Well, John will be running around there too.
Yeah.
But we've got our annual tweet up, which is our gathering. I tell people it's free food and drink 2 hours on Wednesday, just as you're going to your next event on Wednesday. It's kind of how we built it. It's Wednesday from 4 to 6 during Infocom. So go by the website, see how to register for that and all that jazz. Just let us know if you're coming. So honestly, you can get enough of the food and drink. So honestly, is kind of how that works out. But that information and more is at our website, AVNation.tv. AVNation.tv, you'll find this program, a host of others. A brand new AV Social just came out talking about free food and drink at Infocom. Also a new IT AV show, and our underwriters, folks like Karen and Chief are the folks that kind of make it possible for us to continue to do what we do. So check those out if you would please as well. AVNation.tv, AVNation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. This has been AV Week.